Welcome to Experiment Scary. In a small town nestled on the edge of a dense forest, lived a young woman named Elena Marsh. She was 27 years old. She had long black hair, emerald green eyes, and a smile that could soothe anyone who saw her. She was beautiful, intelligent, and full of curiosity. However, she never imagined what would happen next. Elena works as a research assistant at Ashford City University. Her friends always say she takes her work too seriously, but they don't know about her obsession with the mysteries of life, her desire to understand the limits of the human body. That night, Elena sat in her apartment. She had dozens of scientific journals on genetics and cellular mutations spread out before her. Her eyes darted across each word. She noted in her diary, Day 47. I believe there is a way to surpass human biological limitations. Elena was unaware that someone was watching her. From behind the curtains of the apartment window across the street, a pair of sharp eyes watched her every move. No one knew who it was. Not yet. The next day, something strange happened. When Elena arrived at the laboratory, she found a brown envelope lying on her desk. There was no sender's name. Inside, a short letter was written in thick black ink. To Elena Marsh. We know about your private research. We have the answer. Helix Laboratory, 13 Jalan Pinggir Hutan. Come tonight at 10 o'clock. Alone. Elena read the letter 3 times. His heart was pounding. Helix Laboratory. He had heard his name whispered in academic circles. The place is rumored to carry out secret experiments that violate ethics. And now they invited him. Night fell. The sky was overcast and a light rain began to fall. Elena stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. Her face was pale. Her eyes were filled with doubt and a curiosity she couldn't suppress. She grabbed her black jacket and stepped out into the darkness. The drive to Forest Road felt like entering another dimension. Elena drove slowly, her eyes searching for the number 13, and then she saw it. A gray concrete building, hidden among the dense trees. There was no sign, just a large metal door with a small red light above it. Elena parked her car, her breath catching. This was it. The point of no return. She had no idea that this decision would change everything. Elena stepped in. The iron door closed behind him with a loud bang. The hallway before him was long and narrow, the walls sterile white. The air was cold and smelled of antiseptic mixed with something organic. Welcome, Miss Marsh. The voice came from down the hall. A man wearing round glasses emerged from the shadows. His lab coat was pristine white. His face was flat, expressionless. We've been expecting you. Follow me. Elena followed the man through a series of coded doors. In one room, she saw large glass tanks filled with a glowing green liquid. Something moved inside indistinct shapes. Elena looked away. They arrived in a larger room. In the center stood a medical chair resembling an operating table, adorned with straps and various cables. Monitors on the wall flickered with data. And there, waiting for them, stood 3 men in lab coats with surgical masks covering their faces. Please sit down, one of them said. Elena hesitated, but her curiosity was stronger. She stepped forward and sat down in the chair. The synthetic leather felt cool against her back. What are you going to do to me? Elena asked, her voice trembling. The scientist, standing closest to him, leaned over. You want to surpass human limits, don't you? We'll give you that. But remember, an open door can't always be closed again. Elena swallowed hard. How long will the process take? 12 hours. In 12 hours, you will become something new. Something that has never existed before. Or you will become nothing at all. There was no chance to retreat. One of the scientists injected something into her arm, a cold liquid that spread rapidly through her veins like ice. Elena bit her lip. The room began to spin. The ceiling lights became streaks of light. She heard whispers, but no one spoke. Phase 1 has begun, said one of the scientists. Basic cellular reconstruction. Monitor vital signs. Don't stop anything. It's too late for that. Elena felt something strange happening inside her body. Her blood felt like it was boiling. Her muscles were contracting on their own. Her breathing became rapid and shallow. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The monitor showed something alarming. Elena's brainwaves were changing. Her cellular structure began to fluctuate. Her DNA began to rewrite itself. The scientists stood stunned. One of them whispered, "God, it's really working." Elena felt a pain she had never felt before. It wasn't ordinary physical pain. It came from the very core of her being, from every cell in her body. It was as if her body was being torn apart and put back together over and over again. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She heard a final voice. "Welcome to evolution, Elena Marsh. No one can save you now." In the darkness of her mind, Elena dreamed of a dark forest, of creatures moving among the trees. And in that dream, she felt something growing inside her, something hungry. When Elena opened her eyes, she didn't know how much time had passed. The room was still the same, but something had changed. Everything felt different, sharper, too real. He could hear his own heartbeat like a drum. No, not just his. He could hear the heartbeats of the scientists in the next room. He could hear the blood coursing through their veins. His hearing had surpassed normal limits.
This is just the beginning.
Subject has regained consciousness. Begin Phase 2, Observation Protocol. Elena tried to move her hand. The straps had been removed. Her hand felt strange, heavier, stronger. She raised her right hand and stared at it. Her skin still looked normal, but there was something beneath it. The veins beneath her skin were pulsing in a strange pattern. The pain came suddenly. Her bones felt like they were being squeezed and stretched together. Elena fell from the chair, her body curled up on the cold floor. She roared. The sound that came out was no longer fully human. It was lower, more guttural, like an animal growl. Her fingers began to lengthen. Her nails grew thicker, sharper, turning from pink to a blackish gray. Elena stared at her hands in horror. No, this shouldn't be happening. The door to the room opened. Two scientists entered with clipboards and medical equipment. They were now wearing full-face shields, as if Elena had become something dangerous. The transformation phase is progressing faster than predicted. Skeletal reconstruction has begun early. This is remarkable. Stop this. I changed my mind. Please. But they didn't answer. They just took notes, observed. To them, Elena was no longer human. She was an experimental subject. She was data. Hour after hour passed. All Elena knew was the pain coming in waves. Her ribs widened. Her spine lengthened. She could feel something growing in her back, tiny bumps pushing from within. The whispers grew louder.
Let go. Let us out.
His thoughts began to split. There were two voices inside his head. One was Elena's irrational, scared woman. The other voice was different, primitive, hungry, full of anger and a desire to hunt. still human," Elena whispered, clutching her head. "I'm still Elena Marsh." But her reflection in the metal panel of the wall said otherwise. Her eyes had changed. Her green irises now glowed faintly, like the eyes of a nocturnal predator. Her teeth. When she opened her mouth, her canines had lengthened sharp as knives. In another bout of pain, Elena slammed into the wall panel. Her hand pierced through the metal like paper. Her strength. She couldn't control it. The scientists retreated in panic, subject exhibiting superhuman strength. Level 1 containment is insufficient. Move to isolation now. The gas began to be released as sedative. Elena inhaled it and felt her body weaken. She fell to the floor. But even as her consciousness faded, she could still hear whispers. "You will be complete. You will become what a human being should be." When Elena woke up again, she was in a different room. The walls were thicker, made of ballistic glass. She was in a cage, a cell. Her body felt completely foreign. Every movement felt different, stronger, faster, more ferocious. Elena looked at her reflection in the mirror, and for the first time she truly saw what she had become. Her body was still human, but it had changed. Taller, more muscular. Her skin had a fine scale-like pattern. Her back had small spikes along her spine, and her teeth, rows of sharp teeth, glinted in the dim light. "What have you done to me?" he shouted, his voice a mix of human and monster. The scientists outside the glass didn't answer. They just wrote, took pictures, recorded videos.
They are afraid of you.
Elena felt a new instinct awaken, the instinct to hunt, to kill, to devour. She shook her head, trying to banish the thought, but it grew stronger. With each passing second, her human self grew smaller. Something else was taking over. The transformation phase is 98% complete. The subject demonstrates complete integration of non-human DNA. This exceeds all expectations. Elena hit the glass in front of her. Once, twice, 3 times. Cracks began to appear. The scientists panicked. The alarm sounded again. But this time, there was no sedative gas. They had lost control. The glass wall exploded outward. Elena, or what used to be Elena, stepped out of the cell, her body hunched like a predator. Her transformation was complete. She was no longer fully human, but not quite a monster either. She was something in between, something new, something terrifying. The scientists ran, but Elena was faster, much faster. In an instant, she was blocking their path. Her glowing eyes stared at them with a mixture of anger and sadness. "Please," one of the scientists said, his voice trembling. "We were only following orders." Elena opened her mouth. Her voice came out distorted, like 2 voices speaking at once. "You knew. You always knew." Her claws dug into the metal wall, leaving deep claw marks. She could kill them now. Every instinct screamed for her to do so.
Kill them, they deserve.
But a part of Elena, who was still human, fought back. She didn't want to be a killer. With incredible effort, she forced her body to retreat. Her hands trembled as she turned and ran toward the exit. Security alarms sounded throughout the complex. Metal doors came down, trying to shut her in, but nothing could hold Elena back. She smashed through every door, tearing through metal like paper, leaping over obstacles with impossible agility. Elena finally reached the main exit. The night air greeted her, the first fresh air in who knows how long. She ran into the forest, her body moving in ways she had never imagined. Every sense was heightened. She could smell a rabbit 100 meters away. The world had become a completely new place. middle of the forest, Elena stopped. She fell to her knees, breathing heavily. Tears flowed, tears that were still warm and still human. "What has happened to me?" she whispered into the darkness. "Who am I now?" There was no answer, only darkness and an uncaring forest. Elena stared at her hands, hands that ended in claws. She touched her face, feeling the contours of the altered bones. She was a monster, a successful experiment, a living horror.
But you are also free.
Elena stood slowly. Her body was still unfamiliar, but she was starting to feel it. Her strength, her speed, her extraordinary senses. She was no longer the weak woman who had entered the laboratory. She had changed, evolved, become something more. In the distance, she heard sirens. They would search for her. They would never stop. But Elena was no longer afraid. The still human part of her whispered to hide, to disappear. But another part, a new and powerful part, whispered something different. Elena stood on a small cliff, gazing out at the flickering city in the distance. Those lights had once been her home. They had been her world. But that world was too small for what she had become.
They created you, but they can't control you.
The night breeze blew through her black hair. Her luminous eyes scanned the horizon. Somewhere out there, there might be answers. There might be a way back. Or maybe this was the beginning of something new, something the world had never seen before. Elena spun and disappeared into the darkness of the forest. His steps left no trace. His movements made no sound. He had become a shadow, become a legend. It became a nightmare that people would whisper about at night. Scientists in the laboratory will search. Police will investigate. The media will speculate. But no one will ever find Elena Marsh. The woman is no more. All that remains is the creature she created, a creature born of human ambition and dangerous curiosity. The last whisper, barely audible. And in the darkness of the forest, something awaits. Something that was once human. Something that is now far more terrifying. Something that will make the world wonder. What happens when we cross boundaries we should never have crossed? No one could have imagined what would happen next.